She'll say, hey, I'm in the middle of the future. Hey, this is Armaan in the middle of the future.
First of all, who are you?
My name, or who am I? What
Who
do I
are
do?
you?
I think I would, whenever somebody asks me that, I just usually say what I do.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a creator. You know, I like, I don't know, a scientist, but maybe that's too much. But I like just experimenting, right, in like some sort of a lab, but experiments with scale and design. You know, like really just going for like learning about anything and then sort of materializing it in a way.
So if I were to ask you, who are you? And then I would ask you, what do you do?
I think
what is the
maker.
difference between those things?
So I think I would say I'm a maker when somebody says like, who are you? Because there's like a lot of definitions to make. Everything from, I don't know, making jokes, making friends, you know, making sketches, making objects, making identities, making buildings. So yeah, maker is good.
Okay.
And what do I do? Then it would actually like split into more formal languages, right? Because otherwise it all sounds quite washy. Because it's not actually all in the air. It's actually the opposite, where stuff is moving and getting made in real time. So what I do as a profession is architect slash designer slash I think architect is good, you know, but I actually got this email recently being like, you can't use the word architect in your title because you haven't done your part 3, etc. Like a really harsh email. But then I think in one of my talks I was like, yeah, but it's an architect with a small a. You know, it's not like architect as an architect, but it's more like architecting around, you know, where you're planning, you're connecting dots, you're researching, and then there's some sort of a physical result out of it. And I think that's why I call myself still an architect, although I'm not really making only buildings exclusively. See, there's 2 routes, I think, especially with how the world's moving currently, that you can take. You can either be like super serious, or you can be super unserious. And I'm just trying to sort of be very unserious, but then I keep getting taken seriously, which I don't mind, which is quite nice actually. But then I think then when I approach serious stuff with that unseriousness, it's really like exciting. It excites the people who approach me, number one, but also it's something new and refreshing for them. Not to say that work doesn't get done, or like we don't make something, or like everything actualizes, right? But it's just the way of getting there is usually like a really fun journey.
So would you say it's really important for you to keep this like unseriousness and this lightness across absolutely everything? Oh my gosh.
This is just the Daniel found it on the floor. Yeah, he found it on the floor of the workshop. It's not actually like made or anything. It's just like a thing that's spilled.
Wow, you're using this as a coaster. That's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess the question of all of that is, this is who you are, this is what you do. Why is any of that important?
Well, I actually have this sometimes where I'm like, actually what I do is like not as important as, you know, a doctor or somebody who's researching space, or, you know, sending these bigger ideas, you know, like somebody who's working with larger scales of, you know, policies that affect the world. But then, as I said, I get, you know, somebody who's building a rocket approaches me to design it or something, right? And I think why it matters is number one, it makes people come together. I think that's the number one thing. Because eventually, why I wanted to move out of my little city in India is because it was a big bubble, right? It was like too many people knowing each other, everybody being too comfortable with each other, and like this is why I always wanted to move to London. And even when you see my group of friends, when they come together, they're all very individual in who they are. Like no 2 or 3 people will be similar. You know, like you're unique, Sophia's unique, Daniel's unique, or whoever you meet. You know, everybody's like very, very unique in their own way. And I think it's the best way to learn about the world. You know, like getting samples from all over the world and like talking to them every day. And I think these experiments, this like design field or landscape, where actually there's so many intersections with, you know, fashion, architecture, graphic design, music, art, that you end up forming like very small overlaps. So you get like actually very small bubbles rather than one big one. And I think it's the best way to learn about the world, especially if you're interested in the world, which I am, right? So I think number one, I think that's what's important about what I do, that actually other people, you know, can also find importance in it for themselves. And I think second of all, why it's important is because it looks back at histories, right? It reminds people of a lot of stuff, especially this like the new studio, right, Ahmedabad, which focuses on India and London, right? So who I really am, but looking back at past, looking back at techniques, looking back at, I mean, also in terms of industry, there's so much. There's artisans, there's you know, people who have dying art, to remember that or to even make that new in a newer context is quite important, I think. Yeah.
Do you think it's important that people, like, why are you focusing in India? Why do you want to bring India to here? What do you think India has that London doesn't have?
I don't think it's about like what each place has, and it's not like comparative. I think it's just I think for India to be presenting histories and textures in a context, in a newer context, in a country or in a city like London, which is like super multicultural. Again, not important, more fun, you know, like just to see how you can rethink that or re-see that via lens. Like I have this take where it's like I'm not really inventing anything, or nothing can be invented. It's all about remixing, right? Like when you look at a DJ, and you're a DJ, so you know this, why you might think you're having fun or what you do is important is number one because you see people how they react to it. You know, everybody's enjoying feeling themselves. And second of all, you're taking bits of culture from the world or sounds from the world and seeing how they sound together and actually creating something new out of it. So in that way, you're creating something new, but you're still respecting a lot of what's been done or what exists. And I think the third reason, which just came to mind, is why it's important, is because a lot of people find a lot of inspiration in it. Like I get a lot of texts being like, yeah, I really love your work, blah, blah, but like, I don't really have any work out. Or like, there are hints of it, but a lot of younger kids, or kids that are younger than me, I'm young, or like kids that are younger, they're like really, really inspired and like really like finding their purpose in life via conversations with me or via, you know, looking at similar people to me. And these are kids who, you know, don't really know where they stand, but for them to talk to me for like 2 hours and then really feel better is just a nice feeling as well. You know, that this shit, like sketches and just talking about random people, you know, like for example Virgil or whoever, right, talking about random people, how they got there, or what they do and what they mean to you makes someone's day better or someone's life better is like nice. And I think design and this sort of landscape is one where you can actually make someone feel better with the conversation without really doing anything. You know, like this doesn't work same in the finance world or the, you know, medical world. Like there's actually like results that need to be seen. But with this sort of stuff, you can also, you know, it's quite philosophical in a way and quite psychological. So you can really be just creating conversations that are meaningful, which might not mean anything, you know, as I said, in the real world when I think about what I'm doing and how it's important. But in that sort of short span and in that sort of scale, I think it's nice. Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
You're very particular about not sharing your work, and you still get so much work. How does that work?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like that's so.
I'm not like. What do you say? I'm shy. I don't want to share my work. What do you say? I
no,
don't share my
you
work.
don't. You're so particular about not sharing your work. Like, you don't have a portfolio. You don't have a public portfolio at all, like whatsoever.
Yeah.
And you've worked with like crazy brands.
Yeah. I think because I was working for a lot of people, right, when I started, and these were like big brands who your name doesn't really get out. I kind of enjoyed that because then you're like, you know, like this hacker almost, you know, like sitting behind a screen and like just making stuff happen. And actually in the industry, your name does get mentioned, right? So sort of like word of mouth. And like there was a guy who didn't really know me but like followed me, and like he said to me, he's like, you are, because I don't also have pictures out, right? They were like, yo, Armaan. And I was like, yeah. You're Andrew. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's crazy. Today, 4 people mentioned you for four different companies. He's like, I was with this friend, Brendan, from Colors. He mentioned you. I was with Samuel. He mentioned you. I was with Kazim. He mentioned you. And I was like, whoa. And he's like, yeah, like, and I was with Joby and he mentioned you. And that's crazy. And like, what do you do? And, you know, we started talking, and the Stone Island project was like with him in Milan, you know? So I think it's quite actually amazing to have this organic way of working with people. Because even like when I started, I did like a bunch of stores for a friend in India. Somebody saw those stores or came to the store, and they were like, wow, this is like super new, like can you do my house the same way? So then I started doing the house the same way. And then a friend of his came to the house and he was like, like who's the architect? Because I'm trying to look for somebody who can think in this sort of architecture language, and make a collection. So my first furniture collection was also organic. Mm-hmm. So it's nice that everything was like, wow, just like happening, so nice. You know? So I sort of, you know, like horses have these 2 things on the side. Yes. I'm just like enjoying, you know, doing my work, you know, carrying the load or like just working. And then like there's all these nice things that keep sort of happening, or I keep stumbling on across. But yeah.
Do you ever, because I also like this is something that we share, it's like we never say no, regardless of whatever is being asked for. Like, how are you not scared? Like, because I'm sure that you've done many things that you had never done before when you got asked for them, and not only got asked to do it, but are being paid to do something you have never done. However, what do you trust that makes you say yes?
Question. I think just, so I always had this thing like of working in every scale possible. So everything from like a watch with Samuel, with Hublot, to now I'm building a rocket. I think I told you about this. Or like designing the skin of a rocket. But yeah, I have this problem of not saying no. I'm always like, yeah, let's do it. No matter how like small or tedious or weird the project is. Like Sophia, the one you approached me with, you know, that was like, I don't really work with colors too much, you know. I don't work with yeah, it was a weird project, but it was like we did it, you know. And I think maybe this is the architecture background that helps, or the education that helps, because at the end of the day, everything's like a problem which has a solution. But then there's so many different ways of approaching that solution, or ways of getting to it, that actually there's, you know, it's okay. Like, say yes, and then the journey to the final end product is just like, is playful, and you're just, you know, doing your thing till you get there. And your question was like, how can I take money for something which I've never done before, and be like,
what part of
we'll
yourself do you trust? Like, what type of relationship with yourself do you have that you trust yourself enough to know that you're gonna offer something of value and that is worth, regardless of the fact that you've never done it before?
Well, I think this is gonna sound like a weird word, but like success, right? Looking at successful projects which actually I don't know anything about but have come out successful, like doing my first collection, or doing like, I don't know, like the Beats headphones, or, you know, like weird objects that I said yes to, and like actually they've come out nice. Like the house, I hadn't ever done a house. I said yes to the house, and it's like coming along really nicely. So I think successful projects from the past, it's like, okay, I've done this, of course I can do this. But also the unseriousness that I was talking about, because it's quite unserious to say yes to like a fucking rocket, you know. So I think that's what sort of keeps it playful.
It's also incredibly serious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's all serious. I know that because somebody's doing it and somebody's there, and obviously somebody's project is quite serious to them. Mm-hmm. But also, it's also serious to me. I think we're confusing like seriousness and unseriousness, but unseriousness in the way I approach it, not the way I do it.
Unserious approach to serious subject.
Yeah, to actual like proper work, CAD files and renders and technical drawings, you know. This is all serious shit. And, yeah, it's happening. Like, my weekend was 1 day of learning from the guy how the rocket's all constructed. We were on a Zoom call, we went to the 3D software, and we assembled each piece of the fucking rocket the entire day to look at how it's assembled. So it's fucking serious work. But then while we're on the call, we're just, you know, we both have our beers out, and, you know, like, it's still unserious, but
yeah.
But I think that's just the way.
You said before that you feel like you keep having also like conversations with kids who like reach out to you and are like, thanks to you, I'm kind of finding my purpose, and like this, and you help them with that. That kind of like, I have 2 questions on that. Like, what made you realize that this was your purpose? Like, what path did you have to take? Did you have someone like you that you looked at that you were like, this helped me? Or was it something, or you saw someone? Like, what helped you on this path?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people like who were dealing in this sort of landscape, you know. You've already mentioned Virgil, you know. Samuel was doing the same, who obviously I was really close with and working with. Mark Newson, Tom Sachs, Kanye. There's so many people, you know, who just took their mind and said, you know, everything. But like one role model, or like somebody who I was super close to, probably not. Because again, if I had it, then this would be easier, but I'm also learning, which is fine. I think every project I learn something new. Sometimes the people I talk to, the people who reach out, teach me more about it. So again, I think, as I said, like, this is why the conversations in this landscape is so important, because you actually end up learning something from everybody, and that might feed back to your work or might not, but still you've had that conversation. There's so many role models right now. We work in so many different industries and scales. It can be a role model from anywhere to somebody who's a graphic designer, or somebody who's a writer, or somebody who's an artist, or somebody who even works with AI. Artists who work with AI, like, everybody's inspiring, you know. This.
What inspires you today? What's the most inspiring things you've had recently?
there's so much information. There's like so much information.
Mm-hmm.
You go through Instagram, you go through like anything. There's like just so many people doing so much work. Like, honestly, everybody's so inspiring. I like everything's so inspiring. I cannot name people anymore. Like I cannot.
I love that.
It depends again on like what I'm doing, what current mindset I'm in. But honestly, I'm finding everything inspiring. I think the inspiring thing is to be able to get something actually made, or to actually like just produce, because that's so hard to do. You know, to go from like what's inside your mind. Like these kids who are building the rocket are so fucking inspiring. You know, I mean, you guys, you know, starting your own. Like everybody's so everybody's doing something, and I think that's a general sense of inspiring. So I don't want to name anyone like particular, but there are like artists I like or musicians I like, and
I guess we could refine the question to, were you ever on the path to be boring and had like an igniting moment or person or situation that you were like, oh my god, what was I thinking? Holy shit, wait, no, let me rearrange, let me replan.
Like, I need to do my thing.
Yeah,
actually.
by being in boring situations, you know, like when I was there, I was like, fuck this, like I'm not, like what the fuck, like I'm usually like a very happy and, you know, smiley person, and at some points I was like, I'm not liking this, I'm kind of hating being here, or like I don't want to be here. Like even ever so recently with like I was like dreading going to the office. Like I don't do anything that I don't like to do, you know. This is like, I will not do anything I don't like to do. I like to do everything. I like to do most things. I'm usually like a yes man, you know. People would ask me like, yo, like you guys, you know, I'm like super tired, I haven't slept, like, yo, you down for a drink? Yes. You want to go, I don't know, to here, there? Yes. Like as I said, I have a problem saying no. But then when I'm in a situation where I'm actually hating the situation, I know that something's gone wrong, you know. Like there's this internship that I did, one of my first years in India, when I was in my first year in architecture here. I went back for the summer, and I went to this office. It was like the first internship, you know, in architecture like you have to get an internship
For the summer.
And I went to this office. It's like a really big office in India, and I sit down, and the whole atmosphere is like super serious, and I think somebody comes to me like, yo, do you want to like look at our recycle bin and see any repeating files and delete the ones off which are like repeating?
Whoa.
Okay. So I start doing it, and they're like, okay, go lunch and come back, and then, you know, we're gonna look at these material samples they had. I was like, oh nice, I like material, I like, you know, feeling shit. They're like, yeah, just chuck out all the material samples in this room. So that's all I'm doing today. And yeah, I didn't turn up the second day, you know. I was like, fuck this shit. Like I'm not gonna be any. And instead, what I did is I just sat at construction sites in my city, which was so much nicer.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at like each, you know, learn so much. And next year, after that, the summer I went to Japan to build, and the shit that I learned on the construction sites was so much like nicer to know than like with father, you know what I mean? But like, it's been hard for me to be somewhere where I don't want to be. And my family's astrologer in India said this to them. He was going to take care of him because like apparently he can't stick to anything, and like he's always going to be like changing jobs, and like he's never going to settle into one job.
What did your family have to say about that?
They were super worried. They were like,
Of course, the family astrologer tells you that.
Yeah, they were like you need to like seriously find a job, and you know, blah blah. When you like graduate, but the good thing is, in some sort of good way, COVID hit, so there was actually no jobs. That's, you know, I was gonna get a job there, and I started doing the houses and the retail stores. So okay, stuff's happening, and I went back. When I came back to London, I got a job at a cold wool, and the good thing about that was that it actually was one big job,
but it's actually like a lot of little jobs. You know, you do like an installation in China, installation in India, a little thing in Dover Street Market, you do a little thing in Selfridges. It's actually like a lot of small multiple projects that like keep me running. And then when I transitioned to SRA with Samuel, it was the same thing, like so many different projects and so many different scales. And I think that's just like what I've kept in as a person, or what I do. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Thoughts? Questions?
That was more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. Thank you.
That's it?
Oh wait, I have one more.
I was confused when you said thank you for the question or thank you for the entire thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for the entire thing.
The entire
honestly.
thing. I have one more question. When you say like you have like sometimes like 2 hour long conversations with people about their like purpose, what do you tell them?
Or
Shit
what?
like this.
Like what shit like this? Like,
Yeah,
you tell
yeah.
them stories.
Yeah, stories, experiences, you know, shared experiences that.
So if I came to you and I was like, I don't know if I want to be doing this, like say I had a really similar situation, like, oh, I need to get a job, but like I have this desire and calling to do something, like,
Yeah.
tell me something, tell me another story.
Yeah.
What would you tell me?
If she was about to start a boring job
I'm 18
and she's
finished
dreading
uni.
it,
I'm sorry, 21, finished uni, I'm like, parents are like, go get a job. And I'm like,
and you know that you have something
But
in
I
you,
actually
you know you
like
have
something.
talent, you have a spark in
Yeah.
you that you're like,
Yeah.
I need to do it. What would
I'm
you
like,
tell a
Armaan,
person?
Fuck, I really look up to like your thousands of things that you do. What do I do?
Like just do it honestly, like.
So real.
But really, like, I'll tell you a situation. I came back after COVID. Okay, I had uni. I had to pay for myself, my brother. So it was like, okay, I need to have like a proper permanent job. But then I started doing one thing, and I started talking to a lot of people, and I was like, yeah, I can do that, or I can do that for you, or yeah, we can do that, or we can figure it out. And slowly you get like, just like talking to people and being like, yes, we can do it, we'll figure it out. What is it, like fake it till you make it kind of thing, you know, like, but not in like a negative way, but like by believing that you can actually do that. And then it sort of just started from like a small thing and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then yeah, there's all the shit you see on the table, you know, like but literally I tell everybody who's even like waiting, for example with Yo-Yo, right, she was really like, obviously it was quite personal for me and her, because she was like really stressed about like not getting into jobs, or Rick Owens, or no, into jobs, not even Rick Owens didn't come in the picture.
She was stressed about not having a job at Rick Owens.
No, it was just like not having a job. Right?
Yeah.
Because the London architecture scene was dead. Like no one's hiring, nothing. I think still. And I was like, okay, what do you want to do? She's like, I just want to make like beautiful spaces. I was like, yeah, make them. You know, like you have a 3D software, you have the power to render and make images. I was like, yeah, just make a collection. You know, do one every week. She's like, yeah, but what does that mean? Blah, blah. I was like, nah, just fucking do it. You know. Then she started doing like a space a week, and she did like 7-8 spaces, beautiful spaces. You know, whatever was in her mind. She was sketching the spaces, she was modeling them, and then rendering them, right? And then I was like, yo, I have an interview for you. Go, Rick Owens. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, put all the stuff that you did into that portfolio, because obviously everything else is like student work, right? This is like stuff that she actually believes in or like, wants to do. And they looked at the renders of these spaces that she'd made, instant hire, you know? So it's like, I can just do it. Yeah, that's the story.
What a great story.
That's a great story.
I love that, Armaan.
So, what are your top 3 things that you think you need to have? Because like right now I was just like, wow, I feel like one of your greatest qualities is nonchalance.
Yeah, totally.
And like, do you have anything else that you're like, I think these are the things that help me really like succeed in all of this?
Yeah, like just not stressing at all. Like zero stress.
You always say you're stressed, Armaan.
Yeah, but I'm not actually stressed.
He's like, I'm stressed, I have so much to do, but then he comes home and he's like...
Yeah, like that's I think that's more of a
conversation thing than an actual thing, you know.
Okay.
I'm not actually stressed.
So he's faking stressing a lot.
Yeah, I want
Fake
to.
stress.
I want to, because I feel like to fit in or to like relate to people, you need to be like, hey, how are you? I'm kind of stressed. Oh yeah, me too. You know. Yeah, shit stresses me out, but I don't stress about it. You know.
That's contradicted with everything else you've said, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I would let it slip.
No, like I do like think some things are stressful. Like it was stressful getting my couches shipped when Heathrow was on fire.
Yeah.
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 But
Totally.
I would still take a walk and laugh, and you know, I was in like panic mode 24/7.
Yeah.
It was a moment of panic and stress, but then it's more productive to like and solve it, you know. Also, just I think the third thing I would say is like just really learning from every little moment. You know, like when you're walking or you're like talking to someone, there's like so many little things that have already happened in the world, which have been thought about. This is why I love Tokyo, because like you really see the thinking, you know, the series of thoughts that went into like even like a little corner in a shop or like a little leftover corner in Tokyo, and they've done something to it, you know. So you really sort of see that line of thought, and then as somebody who's, you know, designing for the world in different scales, it's always quite productive to just be noticing little things, even if it doesn't seem relevant. Might be something nice about it. Like when Daniel picked this up from the floor, there was something nice about it. No, it's kind of why he picked it up. We're like, yeah, it's like a swan lying down, you know, like a goat coming to ask the swan for something.
And he's like talking to him.
Yeah, and there's like these two.
Oh my god.
These two like
A
hooded
dog
figures.
having a conversation with
a
a
goat.
Yeah,
and then
wow.
there's like these two hooded figures, right?
Whoa.
Sitting and listening to them.
Whoa.
Anyways, like it's nice, and that's why.
Wow.
But like little
He
observations.
just like puts his cup on.
And now it's a cup holder.
Now it's a coaster.
A coaster. Can you lift up cup? Wow.
Put it back.
Wow. Is there anything you want to tell us, Armaan?
I'm hungry. What's the time?
11:20.
That's so fair.
11:20.
Yeah.
What
Sorry,
time
not
zone
11.
are you
1:20. Sorry.
1:20. Okay.
What do you guys want to say?
I want to say thank you
Thank
for sharing
you.
all these stories. They were actually very enriching.
Yeah, I thought they're not boring.
No,
I think that
no.
we live in a time where a person like you is exactly the type of person that the world needs.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah,
That's a big
that's a
statement.
big compliment, Armaan.
Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
That's really nice.
that's crazy stuff. I don't even know
That's
how to.
really nice.
I don't know how to react to it. So I'm just like, whoa.
Whoa.
That's fine, but that's why I wanted to get you on tape because, I mean, the
She blushed even.
Yeah, why-
that's how,
yeah, why
that's how
she-
intense the compliment
Yeah,
was.
whoa.
She blushed herself.
You look better in the light as well.
That's so embarrassing. But what I was gonna say is that I think we live in a time where people are just like in the process of understanding and in the process of getting the courage to be and mostly do because people are, but I feel like we become so much through our doing.
Yeah.
You know, like our doing transforms who we are so much.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to arrive to a time where like it's important for people, they're realizing that the being and the doing are not separate.
Yeah.
And
I mean, maybe this is also why I don't post too much, right? Because it's like doesn't really matter at the end of the day, you know. Like when somebody asks me like, oh, like who did the identity for Underbar? I was like, there is no fucking identity, you know. Like I'm just like doing a lot of shit.
I asked you that.
You asked me that?
Yeah.
I was like, there is no identity, you know. It's like
You said you made it.
yeah, like as in like the logo.
Yeah.
The logo,
The
not
logo.
the not the.
I
brand
asked you
itself.
who made the logo.
Yeah, I did the
specifically.
logo.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like the identity of what it is. And I was like, there's no definition for what it is. It's just like, it's formed by everything it does, or like the people it associates with, the references that it looks at. Like right now, if you look at my website, it's a collection of texts that people sent me, or references that we looked at, or sketches, or just like a random collection of thoughts. And I think that comes from like knowing that people will always judge and people will always think.
I don't like to think.
So it's important to maybe just like do. Because then you're just sort of unaffected, right? If your whole thing is about just stuff that exists, nobody can really like take that away from you because it's physical objects.
I like my physical, tangible stuff.
Yeah, I wish this could be the Instagram,
This?
Like this shit, just my table, like stuff that's ongoing.
It can be.
Yeah,
Could be.
This is landscape design for the house in India. These are the sketches of how the couches are in elevation and in plan. And then I'm going to take them, I'm going to cut these out, and we're going to make hundreds of them and see what arrangements of the couches can be. These are Polaroids from the V&A exhibition with Nav. These are my passports. What else? This is a speaker horn that we're working on called the Yuichi with friendly pressure. This is the temple in the house. The sketch of the temple in the house. This is a music studio that we're building in a container. These are sculptures that I'm doing with a gallery in India called Aqueo. The web pages is for Reboot into Miami. That is a kitchen counter for a friend's lounge in India. What else? Yeah, it's fucking random. This is a keychain, but it's a version of a bigger industrial hammer, part of the collaboration with Samuel Ross and Cola. This is an empty whiskey bottle. I finished it yesterday. But it was from the collaboration with Barbani and Samuel. We did like an installation for it in the last design week. Anyway, I can go on, but yeah.
Headphones.
The headphones are also Samuel and Beats. These are little, as you call them, the
Russian doll balls.
Russian doll balls from Tokyo. I don't usually like color, but I think this is actually quite nice because there's some sort of natural color about it. Yeah. Yeah. What else?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
It is natural, Armaan.
Natural. There it is. That's hilarious. Let's end with that.
Amazing.
Thank you, Armaan. We love you.
Thank you, Armaan. Love and appreciate.
Do you want to say something to it motive
I think
specifically?
I've said a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like stuff that's meant to not be here.
Why is it not meant to be there?
Because I haven't unpacked from Milan
Please
yet.
leave that like that. These sketches, please leave them like that.
Yeah, I will make them messy. But like, you don't fucking pass the evangelist.
I kind of do.
No, I don't want it.
Free advertising.
What is it? Yeah.
So what is this?
Well, this was. So I don't know what to give people. When I was gifting. So I started making these to like gift because it's so nice. Even like when you pack it in like recycled paper. But incense holder. Walnut and mild steel, but the idea is I'd see it switched off. But the idea is that when you lay it down, right, it's sort of the metal's so cold and it stays cold for a while, so it just switches it off.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you want to engage it again, you just put it in that little slough.
and it's independent from the metal, so it'll keep running. But it's switched off now, so where's the lighter?
No, she's on.
No,
It's
she's
super on.
off. Now she's off.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't actually unpacked since I've moved here. I still have like my suitcases and everything downstairs and in my in storage. Just because I came here in January and it was just like super intense since with like the V&A stuff. And
I feel like this is such a good angle. Do you want to come and revise it, my love?
Armaan!
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 What did you forget?
I forgot my bag in your house.
Mine.
Shayla.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Shayla.
Shayla. You are Shayla.
Alex
My
just
Shayla.
baptized you as Shayla as we left.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.